As of chapter 1121, One Piece's final war has officially begun. A war that will be so epic, Oda said it's what has motivated him to keep drawing One Piece all of these years. Because this final saga will be so amazing that it makes the Marineford arc look like nothing. In another interview, Oda elaborated, saying that the final war will be a great battle royale, and then hinted that we shouldn't be surprised if even main characters die. After over 1,000 chapters filled with hundreds of characters that all dreamed of obtaining the greatest treasure the world has ever known, thanks to Vegapunk's broadcast, the 12 finalists have finally been revealed. One of these 12 people will obtain what Vegapunk calls the power to determine the fate of the One Piece world. And since Monkey D. Luffy is this series' protagonist, all other 11 characters are considered his antagonist. Therefore, today we'll be ranking One Piece's endgame villains by their threat level and stopping Luffy from claiming the One Piece. For number 11, I'm locking in the Mystery Swordsman. Basically, in true Oda fashion, in the same chapters he is answering a lot of long-time mysteries, he of course had to squeeze in a new one for us to obsess over. And this time, that habit came in the form of wedging in a silhouetted swordsman in between some of the series' most iconic characters that are also frontrunners for the One Piece. Now, the most popular theory is that this person is the evil twin of our favorite red-haired one-armed pirate. No, not that one. Get out of here, kid. Yeah, I'm talking about Daddy Shanks. Shanks having some type of evil twin is actually one of the oldest quasi-well-known theories in One Piece, dating all the way back to what appeared to be Shanks' surprising meeting with the Gorosei. And since then, it has been pretty much confirmed that Shanks does have blood ties to the world nobles through his family name Figureland. Also, adding in the fact that Shanks, the silhouetted swordsman, and his suspected ex-Holy Knight commander Papa all use similar looking swords, I would say it's a safe bet that this unknown character does have some serious ties to Shanks. That being said, though, I do think the mysterious swordsman will have a really interesting B story that'll make them the vehicle for some serious lore dumps. I have a hard time believing that Oda would introduce a character this late into the story that poses any real significant threat to Luffy in particular. I have too much faith in Oda to think he would pull a Kaguya moment and have some random new characters start pulling off feats that other villains couldn't do in hundreds of chapters. But that doesn't mean that Oda isn't the best in the game at new character introductions that will be used the right way. Bringing us to number 10, Saint Figureland Garling. Garling was one of the hardest characters to rank because I couldn't decide if he should be at the bottom or the top of this list. And honestly, I could find a way to justify both. Let me explain. Garling just had intense aura right from the jump. As soon as we saw him, we knew he was going to be a problem. When he was first introduced, Garling held the title of the Supreme Commander of the Holy Knights. The Holy Knights are a group of elite soldiers that directly serve Imu and act as the official law enforcers of the Holy Land of Mary Joie. From the very little we have seen Garling, we already know he shows no mercy. And unlike other celestial dragons, he doesn't play with his prey. Whenever Garling has the urge to take a life, he exterminates promptly. Following the most recent reverie, Garling acted as the judge against Saint Don Quixote Musegard, one of the only good world nobles, who was accused of abetting the escape of the pirate suspected of the attempted murder of Saint Charlos. And let's be honest, even if this was true, we all wish they would have succeeded. As Garling was lounging watching the execution, he claimed that standing up for human scum sinks you even lower in standing than the scum itself, proving that Garling shares the same extreme classism ideology that affects most world nobles. However, unlike how most of them him are useless in every measurable way? Garling is one of those characters that may be an asshole, but he unfortunately excels in pretty much everything he does. He is and always has been a prodigy. 38 years before the current One Piece storyline, while Garling was just a member of the Holy Knights and not yet their leader, he took part in the native hunting competition on God Valley. The competition is a tri-annual contest partaken exclusively by the world nobles. Simply put, it's a island-wide manhunt where world nobles slaughter the residents of the island's population that they call rabbits. The winner is who ends up with the most points, meaning who slaughters the most humans. But you see, Garling's bloodlust was so strong, he couldn't even wait for the killing games to officially begin before he started snatching souls. And so he sliced up the king of the natives prematurely just for funsies. But since this was against the rules, Garling, who was the favorite to win, received a 10,000 point demerit. However, Big Garling didn't even care. In fact, he was so confident in his abilities, he saw it only suitable for him to be given some kind of handicap to make the competition even a little interesting. And as soon as the bell rang, Garling went straight after all the rare and super rare rabbits that were humans introduced into the game that were worth extra points. And within no time, Garling was up 100,000 points. And though the exact details of everything that happened on God Valley remains unknown, in the end, Garling was crowned the champion of God Valley. From there, he eventually worked his way up to the commander of the Holy Knights. And even in the very short amount of time since his introduction into the current storyline, he has risen even higher into the coveted ranks of the Gorosei, becoming the new warrior god of science, to succeed J. Garcia Saturn, who was killed by Emu, meaning that Garling is only one person shy of peak political power and influence over the One Piece world. And given his background, I think it's also fair to assume he is the strongest Gorosei as well. Honestly, I even think there's a good chance that Garling is even more powerful than some of the Yonko, especially with his new fancy terrifying yokai form he will be sure to have now that he is the Elder Star. Now, even though I have some interesting theories on Garling's true ambitions, for the sake of this video, I ranked him with the understanding that Garling will remain loyal to Emu and will most likely be Emu's number 2 in the final war. But I always keep an eye on characters as ambitious and full of themselves as Garling. So you're probably wondering how I could place him as the second least threatening after glazing him so hard. Well, it's because I'm basing this ranking off the character's threat level to stopping Luffy from reaching the One Piece. And I feel regardless of Garling's true intentions, his storyline ends with something to do with Monkey D. Dragon, since Garling stands for and is the sword of everything that Dragon has been trying to destroy with the Revolutionary Army. I mean, Dragon has even directly said that the Holy Knights are his ops. There is a possibility that Garling ends up being the final opponent for Zoro, but that's a video for another day coming up. Either way, when compared to the major players on this list coming up, I feel that Garling's threat level is minimal in the grand scheme of One Piece, but let me know what you think in the comments. Where would you have ranked Garling on this list, and do you think he is at least Yonko power level? If not, where do you put him power scaling wise? Moving on to number 9, Monkey D. Dragon, the wielder of the powerful Looking East Nomi. Dragon is the infamous supreme commander of the Revolutionary Army and is known as the world's worst criminal. He was formerly a part of the Marines before becoming disillusioned with the organization's outlook on justice and became a wanderer fighting for good his own way. Then, after the tragic Ohara incident, Dragon's desire to overthrow the world government was sparked. And the Dragon jokes aside, what he has accomplished since then is ridiculously impressive. For decades, Dragon has been a thorn in the world government side, facilitating and abetting several countries' revolutions, taking in hundreds if not thousands of freedom fighters, all while creating a worldwide network of underground allies and connections to eventually take down the world government once and for all. And we don't even know close to everything the Revolutionary Army's been able to do and or set up. But a great example of their effectiveness when they do decide to mobilize is their recent successful mission of cutting off the Holy Land of Mary Joie's food supply, sowing chaos without even needing to step foot in their rumored impossible to breach location. Dragon's out-of-the-box thinking and strategic genius gives him a major leg up in the final war. When Dragon makes a move, he's surgical. And if you want to help give me a leg up in my personal war against the current Yonkos of One Piece Tube, just like this video and or subscribe. If just half the people that watch this video did this, it would be a major coup de burst towards my dream of being the pirate king of YouTube. Now, all of this is even more impressive because Emu and the world government does know Dragon exists. It would be one thing if he did all of this in secret, but the fact that Emu hasn't been able to eviscerate Dragon's existence from the world like they did Lelucia Kingdom, God Valley, Roch D. Zabek, etc. is a insane feat on its own. Now, I know that Dragon is Luffy's father, and so I obviously don't think he poses a direct threat to Luffy's life, but Dragon's entire identity and goals are wrapped up in bettering the world. And given Vegapunk's proclamation that the person who finds the One Piece gets to decide the fate of the One Piece world, it has to be Dragon's #1 goal to stop anyone reckless from reaching it. Dragon's conviction, resources, and military power with commanders that can stall admirals, therefore making me positive they have the strength to bang it out with Yonko commanders while having the competence to lead their own individual armies, makes Dragon's group overall really dangerous to the other contenders. But real quick, I want to put an end to individual Dragon slander. Things like maybe he isn't actually powerful himself, maybe he is just a good strategist or something. This man was raised by and then trained under Monkey D. Garp much longer than Luffy, Koby, or Kuzan. And we all seen how they turned out. He was a Marine, then became a freedom fighter, and then a revolutionary, with the will to take on the most powerful and evil organization in the world. In One Piece, willpower is like a primary factor in somebody being powerful. So if you don't understand Dragon's insane Haki potential and likely has overpowered wind and or weather based devil fruit abilities as well, I don't know what to tell you. But at least think about this. Dragon is the only Monkey D we have ever seen in their prime. Garp is still powerful, but he is past his prime. Luffy is strong, but he has still not reached his peak yet. I'll walk out on the limb and stamp Dragon as Yonko level, but let me know where you rank Dragon in the comments. The only reason Dragon is #9 is I feel his storyline will get caught up with Garling or some other world government nonsense. Therefore, I don't see Dragon being a threat narratively to Luffy. Instead, I see Dragon being an asset to Luffy indirectly in terms of stopping the world government from getting to the One Piece. Number 8 is Flame Emperor Sabo. Sabo is currently the Revolutionary Army's chief of staff. He's recognized as the #2 of the entire organization and has gained a rather large fan base of civilian supporters that specifically believes in him. So in short, he has all the same resources we said Dragon has, but with the added plot protection of being the protege of an older respected character fighting for the same cause. That will be important in a second. Technically, Dragon is the only person that ranks above Sabo, but we have seen Sabo recently on the front lines fighting alongside the people they are liberating, and we've seen they love him. He has the people's support. Just like Koby is the hero of the Marines, Sabo is the hero of the Revolutionary Army. That means something in a story like One Piece. Now, back to what I was previously alluding to. One of One Piece's key themes you should keep in your mind is the new generation outdoing the previous generations, though be it on the back of the groundwork the older generations put in, like how Luffy is doing what Roger did in a fraction of the time. Koby will most likely outdo what Garp has accomplished before it is all said and done. There are countless examples of this phenomenon in this series. Piece. And so I believe that Sabo will accomplish something so impressive before the story is over that his legend is elevated even beyond dragons. And there is no better time for that than this ultimate war that will change the One Piece world forever. I could even see Dragon sacrificing himself or something before the war is over, and Sabo needing to be the one to step up, take command, and leading the Revolutionary Army to a victory. Sabo also carries the will of Ace and is the wielder of his powerful Logia, the Mera Mera no Mi. And as of now, I would say he has surpassed Ace's abilities with it. Oda is on record saying Sabo trains every day with his fruit powers and martial arts. So don't get it twisted, Sabo usually rolls with a squad, but even one-on-one, he is still a problem. I mean, he went blow for blow with Fleet Admiral Fujitora, and he has definitely got stronger since then. That was like 1 second after getting his fruit powers. Sabo's storyline will be extremely important in the end game of One Piece. I personally hope he ends up taking down Sakazuki with the same devil fruit Sakazuki claimed was inferior to his magma devil fruit during the Paramount War. I'm pushing the Blue Flame Emperor Sabo agenda. I theorize that Sabo will be integral in the restructuring of the One Piece world's new justice systems and power structures post the One Piece being found. But similar to the reason I ranked Dragon where I did, I don't think Sabo poses a real threat to Luffy, narratively speaking. But I do think he is more of a threat than Dragon because he is a wild card type character and he has his own new ideas that separates him from Dragon's vision for the future. This is why Oda put him and Dragon separate on this double page spread. Same with Garling and Emu and Blackbeard and Kuzan. People with the strongest wills, even those in the same organizations, trust their own personal vision for the world more than anyone else's, even their supervisors. And no character in One Piece represents that concept more than number 7, Fleet Admiral Sakazuki. Sakazuki, who was formerly known by his admiral alias Akainu, is almost the perfect antagonist. He checks all the boxes in what makes a good villain. Do we hate him for things he has done specifically to our beloved protagonist? Yes, we do. Is he powerful or dangerous? Yeah, he definitely is. And most importantly, Sakazuki is convinced that he is the good guy. These specific types of delusional villains are the most dangerous because they feel like they are the real heroes, and therefore they will do anything to achieve their goals, which is exactly what Sakazuki's absolute justice requires him to do. Absolute justice, and more specifically Sakazuki's sub-justice belief of thorough justice, is a strict philosophy whose followers believe that evil must be eradicated at all costs, even when it involves innocent deaths or immoral acts. Sakazuki believes that evil will never be rid from the world till you destroy it at its very roots. This is a conviction we've seen Sakazuki prove he has, when he melted a fellow Marine just for getting butterflies about participating in the Paramount War, and with his attempted murder of Koby, just for wasting a few of his precious pirate killing seconds. In fact, this belief system he has become so radicalized that he now believes it is necessary to kill the kids of those he deems evil because they are the seed of evil and must pay for the sins of their parents before they inevitably become evil themselves. And unfortunately, Sakazuki possesses the raw power to accomplish a lot of these things. It could be argued that Sakazuki is the most lethal character on this entire list. Sakazuki's devil fruit powers are of a uniquely dangerous Logia type that allows him to create, control, and transform into magma at will. He was able to face off with the mighty Whitebeard twice, and even though he too took damage, he delivered the most critical wounds that Whitebeard took in the entire battle at Marineford, especially in the manga where half of Whitebeard's face was blown off by Sakazuki. Even the overconfident but cautious Blackbeard knew to run when he had planned to negotiate Juribani for a Marine battleship, but learned that Sakazuki was on the ship, therefore they wouldn't be any talking, only rainstorms of magma fist. Even the creator of One Piece, Oda, is on record saying that Sakazuki's Magu Magu no Mi has the highest offensive capabilities among all devil fruits. And then in an interview with Sound and Recording magazine in 2012, Oda said if Akinu was the protagonist of One Piece, he is so strong that One Piece would come to an end within a year. Exactly what Oda meant by this statement is heavily debated in the power scaling side of the fanbase, but on face value to me, it is a testament to Sakazuki's raw power, willpower, and importantly, his threat potential. Basically, Oda is saying when Sakazuki sets his mind on a goal, God help those that stand in his way. Also, given Sakazuki has a 5 crown cross guild bounty, which equates to around 5 billion berries, he has the highest active bounty and the 3rd highest known bounty in the series. This puts Sakazuki on the Pirate King Roger Whitebeard tier in terms of perceived threat levels. I know bounties aren't the best for exact power scaling, but it does show the danger the character represents, so we can't just ignore Oda giving us this information. So what we have here is a villain with the most destructive powers in the series with a willpower that rivals Luffy. And to make Sakazuki even more narratively the perfect ultimate antagonist to the Straw Hats, Sakazuki was also largely responsible for the worst tragedies during the Ohara incident, like when he blew up the evacuation ship filled with the innocent civilians, women, and children attempting to flee the destruction. I personally wouldn't argue with someone who thought Sakazuki was a top 3 contender for a final villain, but with all that being said, it is actually my belief that Oda has been brilliantly writing for Sakazuki to be set up as an enemy of the world government. I mean, we just covered what Sakazuki did to his own men just because they wasn't as extreme as him when it comes to dealing with what he decides is evil. So what do you think someone who hates evil as much as Sakazuki will do with more and more information leaking that the world government is even more evil than the pirates he hates so much, thanks to events like Vegapunk's epic speech? There is a reason Oda put Sakazuki on this page, even though the Marines should be loyal to Imu and the world government. This storyline could even lead to some kind of Revolutionary Army, Marine, world government face-offs, meaning that Luffy wouldn't have to deal with Magma Man himself. Even though I'm sure he does want his get back, Luffy would be satisfied with like Sabo getting it for him or something. Now, since Sabo and Sakazuki are both so hot, let's cool things up a little bit with number 6, Kuzan. Get it? Because he's an Iceman?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Kuzan, who is formerly known by his admiral alias Aokiji, is currently one of the 10 Titanic captains of the Blackbeard pirates. With his Hihi no Mi, he has the powers to create, control, and transform into ice at will. But I theorize it's even more powerful than that and has more of a temperature lowering manipulation ability. I sincerely believe that with the ice demon's terrifying power, his meticulous planning, and ability to adapt, Kuzan is one of the biggest and most dangerous unknowns in the entire endgame of One Piece. I think it's safe to assume that even though Kuzan is still acting on behalf of Blackbeard currently, this arrangement won't last forever. Kuzan forfeited an entire impressive military career because their idea of justice didn't align with his moral compass. So it's a hard sell that he would ever let someone like Blackbeard dictate how the world turns out. I think Kuzan is so interesting that my literal last video is a 58-minute deep dive into everything there is to know about Kuzan. I documented his entire journey from a poor wine-sipping orphan to him eventually becoming a Marine on a quest to find answers to what it means to be just, which resulted in his ever-adapting moral philosophies. I also touched on how Kuzan is even stronger now than he was when he fought Sakazuki for 10 days back on Punk Hazard, because for the first time in his life, he now knows what he truly wants and what he is willing to do to accomplish it. This is something that Doflamingo also noticed in their short encounter. If you want to watch my full analysis on why I think it's a mistake that so many fans are overlooking Kuzan's true threat level, definitely check out my Why Kuzan is Terrifying video next. But for now, just know that from his haunting invasion of Whole Cake Island to his mind-blowing fight against Garp on Hachinoso, today's Kuzan is a lot more dangerous than the Marine we once knew. And it's obvious he has more up his sleeve that hasn't been revealed yet. If he does have ties to another organization, he is even more formidable. But for now, there is just too many unknowns to rank him any higher. Welcome to the top 5. You made it. And we are kicking off the top 5 finalists' biggest threats to Luffy with his very own idol, red-haired Shanks. The red-hair pirates are the gold standard of what it means to be a Yonko crew. Their name and Jolly Roger commands respect in every corner of the seas. This is largely thanks to the fact that the fleet's main crew is particularly strong even among other Yonko crews. Quote, Shanks' crewmates are widely renowned with a high average bounty and the best balance of any pirate crew. There are no soft targets here, meaning that there isn't a single weak spot in Shanks' main squad. Every one of them is dangerous. Therefore, in a straight up crew versus crew showdown, there likely isn't currently a single pirate crew that could survive a clash against the red-haired pirates. And even among these monsters, Captain Shanks himself is even stronger by a wide margin. At this point in One Piece, I think it's safe to say that Shanks is the strongest known haki user in the series. And the further we get into the story, the more it's understood that haki is one of the most important things in terms of power scaling. Shanks is so much that guy that I don't even need to bring up every reference or lore example to prove his strength. I'm sure by now we all know that Shanks is the one who knocks. So instead of a 10-minute Shanks glaze-a-thon, let's dive into where he falls short. Shanks' overall fleet is actually on the weaker side compared to that of the other Yonko crews, or even the other armies in the final war. A lot of Shanks' allied forces are filled with old retired pirates and almost civilian level crews that are only able to survive in the new world because Shanks has a soft spot for the weak and it takes them in under his Jolly Roger. Think about it like this: the average fodder beast pirate is dog walking the average fodder red hair pirate. This is counterbalanced a bit because of Shanks' ties to the legendary warrior island of Elbaf, known to have the mightiest fighting force in the entire world. These famously powerful warriors respect Shanks immensely and will and do fight on his behalf. Their power has been coveted by every organization from the Marines to even other Yonkos like Big Mom and Kaido, who has attempted to gain or replicate the Albathian giant strength through various unorthodox ways. But even this doesn't make up for the liability these weakling crewmates create. Here is an example. Remember when Shanks got serious and destroyed Captain Kidd instantly, and it was like super awesome and kind of scary? Well, something that I felt like was super under discussed by the fan base was Shanks had to go this hard because he saw a future where Kidd eviscerated 9 of Shanks' allied ships solo in just a few seconds. Shanks barely made it in time to save them. In my opinion, this unfortunately added to the ever-growing long list of Shanks' bright red death flags. One Piece fans have long theorized that Blackbeard will kill Shanks before the story is over, given there is an entire subplot of One Piece of Shanks being the first and most passionate character that understood the true threat Blackbeard posed, and Shanks sacrificing himself to save a friend or ally from a villain who fights dirty seems like it is being written to make more and more sense narratively. Also, if Shanks does confront Blackbeard, it wouldn't really make sense for him to defeat Blackbeard plot-wise, because Blackbeard is one of, if not the main antagonist to Luffy. There isn't too many characters Luffy Luffy has to face, but Luffy has to fight Blackbeard all out at some point in this story. Now, Oda has set Shanks up to be an obstacle for Luffy to overcome, and that maybe could happen in some type of Luffy versus Shanks reunion fight, but it's also possible that Luffy ends up beating the man that defeated or killed Shanks, is how that destiny comes to fruition. This all doesn't mean Shanks can't defy the odds against him, because he does seem borderline unbeatable at the moment, so he is still a major threat. Plus, Shanks literally has the advantage of being one of the 2 people in this war that has already almost reached Laugh Tale once. When I add up all of Shanks's positive and negatives in this specific ranking, I think number 5 is fair, but I would love some feedback and theories on what you think will be Shanks's role at the end of One Piece. Number 4, Koby the hero. Koby is a very special character in One Piece because he has actually been a part of the story longer than any of the Straw Hats. I believe Koby is so important because it almost seems like he plays the role of a second protagonist. And though we only get to see brief glimpses of his character development throughout the story, it has ran parallel to Luffy's come up and is honestly just as impressive because when we first met Luffy, he was already fairly confident and decently strong. Koby, on the other hand, was a sniveling coward who couldn't even stand up for himself and considered his dream impossible. When you look at the man Koby has become today, the hero of the Rocky Port incident, the future of the Marines who Garp is proud to call his protege, it's hard to even believe this is even the same person we met back on Albeda's ship. Koby might have the greatest glow up in the entire series. Even Cross Guild understands Koby's threat and status, placing a 5-star bounty on his head, which is worth 500 million berries. And honestly, given the awesome but terrifying power Koby put on display with his honesty impact, even that is underrepresentative of his threat potential. That was an elite level attack. Everyone on Pirate Island was flabbergasted. It made Garp proud that he had chosen a worthy successor, and it brought tears to my eyes to see how far Koby has come. I can't wait for Luffy to see it. Everything that happened on Hachinoso only made Koby's resolve stronger. When he woke up in the Marine GS General Hospital, where he was recovering from his injuries, he was able to catch Vegapunk's broadcast. There was one part that really shows Koby's strength and resolve, which was when Vegapunk stated the fate of the world will be decided by whoever is able to claim the One Piece. After the message ended, Koby realized the potential ramifications the world would face if Luffy succeeded in finding the One Piece first. It was then and there Koby decided that even though he is a Luffy stan like the rest of us, he must step up and be the one to stop Luffy from achieving his dream. Koby caught a lot of crap about this from a portion of the fan base, since Luffy is the one who helped him take the first steps towards his own dream, but I thought this was kinda dumb for 2 reasons. First, because part of the reason for Koby's dream is to be able to protect people the best way he can, and given the circumstances, this is the best way he can. Koby, better than anyone, knows how reckless Luffy can be, which leads to my second point, that if Koby has to face off against his friend in order to achieve his dream, I think Luffy would respect that more than anything else. In my opinion, Koby is one of the 3 people on this list I could see Oda narratively being able to make sense out of them finding the One Piece, or getting it in a way where Luffy gets to become the pirate king, but Koby gets to decide the fate of the One Piece world. And I just know Koby is going to be essential in whatever the new version of the Marines will be in the future after the One Piece is found. Am I gassing Koby too much? Now, I knows everyone was curious where our next character would be ranked, and no, Buggy, no, I wasn't talking about your nose. Number 3, Buggy the Clown. Buggy is straight up a One Piece anomaly. Through what I can only describe as a mastery of charisma haki, he has failed upward, accomplishing almost every rank and feat imaginable as a pirate. Buggy was a protege on the Pirate King Goldie Rogers ship, a East Blue terrorist, impaled down escapee. He became one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and then wrote that into the missionary organization Buggy's Delivery Service, which then eventually evolved into him becoming a named Yonko with the world's strongest swordsman Mihawk and the strategic mastermind Crocodile as his commanders of their cross-guild alliance. Look, I know there are still some people out there that don't take Buggy serious and they feel like he just gets lucky, but I'm here to tell you that is a mistake. There's this famous proverb I've always liked, and it goes, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Buggy is the perfect example of that. When Buggy became a warlord, he could have just went off like Mihawk and messed around for the rest of his days. But no, instead he got a loan from Crocodile and built up a missionary organization that would eventually become the foundation that allowed Crocodile's marine bounty idea to actually work. By the way, using Buggy's delivery services infrastructure for Crocodile's plan was Buggy's idea. He pitched it to Crocodile to appease him for not having all the money for his loan. Buggy quite literally always makes the best hand out of the cards he is dealt. There are so many examples of this Buggy phenomenon, but my favorite is in regards to his status as Cross Guild's leader. Buggy wasn't even originally trying to be the face of the organization, but his followers admire him so much they literally could not help themselves from slapping his beautiful clown face right in the center of the flyers and distributing them worldwide. The absolute loyalty Buggy's aura commands is already impressive, but what was even more impressive is how when Crocodile and Mihawk originally refused to accept this mishap, Buggy was smart enough to leverage his influence over his followers to get them to go along with it. Buggy has been through so much in his life, and he definitely suffers from some type of anxiety disorder and imposter syndrome. So maybe it's because I relate to that, and or somewhere along the story I too got sucked into that Buggy charisma, but I believe Buggy's star will keep rising higher and higher. There was this moment in chapter 1082 where Buggy was finally honest with himself for the first time in years, and he delivers this epic speech to Mihawk and Crocodile that he too dreams of being the pirate king and that together they can take it. The wealth, the power, the greatest treasure the world has ever known, the One Piece. Crocodile points out that pirating is a business and right now they have no plan, and Mihawk is flabbergasted, asking does Buggy really expect them to fight Red Hair, Blackbeard, and Straw Hat at once? And Buggy replies, you guys just don't get it. All we have to do is beat them to the punch. The only rule with treasure is finders keepers. And then he delivers the greatest closing in any manga speech history, asking everyone there to remember the dream that took them out to sea in the first place. Remember the light of their lost innocence. Buggy tells them to reach out for their dream one more time. And remember, Buggy's got your back. The One Piece is ours. I don't care what they say, even Mihawk and Crocodile really felt that speech in their hearts. And I'm not above admitting the very first time I read this, I actually shed a few tears of joy and thought to myself, wow, I believe he can do it. Knowing Oda, one day we might be looking back at Buggy's speech as some insane foreshadowing. Maybe it's just Buggy gets to claim a piece of the monetary treasure that's found, or he actually becomes the pirate king by name only or something. But if One Piece taught me anything, it's when it comes to Buggy the genius gesture, anything is possible. Number 2, Emu or Eem. I hear it pronounced both ways and I'm not sure which one is correct. Emu is the supreme ruler of the world government and by proxy most of the One Piece world. They are One Piece's boogeyman. However much power or influence you think you already know Emu has, double it and then triple it again. As the being that secretly occupies the empty throne, even the 5 elder stars bow to them, which makes sense because it was Emu that directly bestowed upon them their demonic yokai powers and immortality. But as we've seen with the elimination of Saint J. Garcia Saturn, Emu can snatch back that power and kill them anytime they see fit. So with all of the Gorosei under their complete and total control, Emu has 5 at least admiral level warriors at their disposal. And the newest elder star, Saint Figureland Garling, is likely significantly above admiral level. And And we still have the rest of the Holy Knights who we've yet to even see, but are for sure going to be a serious problem as well. We also have to add in the fact that Imu has the highest command for the army of pacifistas, who were said to equate to 1 battleship each in strength, and the Seraphim, who were able to clash with Egghead level Straw Hats without even reaching their final form yet. What's truly terrifying is that Imu's resources go even beyond what I've already mentioned. As we've seen with the evisceration of the Lucia Kingdom, that Imu has access to ancient weapon levels of weaponry. When it comes to Imu's actual abilities, we still don't know if it's some kind of god level devil fruit or some type of unknown god level haki, but it's sure to be more dangerous than anything we've seen before. At the moment, Imu is the #1 threat to Luffy and the One Piece world. So given all of that, what could possibly be my reason for Imu not being #1 on this list? Well, that's because based on the fact that Imu seems so unstoppable and all-powerful, and then analyzing how Oda has dealt with overpowered antagonists so far in the story, what I call a jump piece, I believe it will take an alliance of several of the One Piece finalists to take down Imu and the world government, even if they all don't know they are working together. For example, I could see the Revolutionary Army taking on the God's Knights, while the Straw Hats deal with Imu, etc. But where I think things get spooky is I don't think Luffy will defeat Imu alone. I believe that before the end of One Piece, Monkey D. Luffy and Marshall D. Teach will have to team up to defeat Imu together, which is why #1 is Blackbeard. Through betrayals, his mysterious powers, and genius planning, Blackbeard has risen to Luffy's #1 pirate threat to the Pirate King's throne. Ever since Blackbeard's first appearance, Oda has been setting him up to be the anti-Luffy. They both love to eat but have exact opposite taste. They both believe in the importance of dreams, but they have different moral restraints on how to make those dreams happen. And whether we like to admit it or not, they both are blessed by fate. Alright, so remember during the Paramount War, Mihawk said Luffy's true power is that for some reason, powerful people want to or end up helping him. Well, Blackbeard has this same trait and he knows how to weaponize it. I think my favorite video I've ever done is my 39-minute The Victims of Blackbeard analysis, because people forget how much of a Machiavellian genius Blackbeard is and how he had the world's powers dancing in the palm of his hand. Just to name a few of the ways Blackbeard orchestrated the events that led to the Paramount War, starting with him capturing Fire Fist Ace and turning him over to the Marines in order to finesse his way into becoming a warlord, in order to finesse his way into Impel Down, where he was able to convince a bunch of dangerous level 6 prisoners to serve him, which gained him the fighting power he needed to rush over to the war he started between his ex-crewmates and his ex-coworkers. Wait till the perfect moment to kill his ex-captain and somehow steal his devil fruit, becoming the first person in known One Piece history to wield 2 devil fruits simultaneously. Then during the time skip, Blackbeard defeats the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates, becomes a Yonko, takes over Pirate Island, and presumably sweet talks a ex-admiral into joining his crew. I've already broke down in my Kuzan analysis video that if Kuzan really does stay loyal to Blackbeard, that is terrifying for the Straw Hats. Like, Kuzan is terrifying. Blackbeard has been accomplishing all the same levels of success as Luffy, but doing it faster and more deliberately. Speaking of Luffy, Blackbeard is either directly or indirectly responsible for all of Luffy's most nightmarish traumas. Blackbeard is ultimately responsible for his brother's death, and more recently, on behalf of Blackbeard, is the reason Kuzan felt like he had to step in to stop Garp. So now Blackbeard has Luffy's grandpa as a prisoner, with plans to leverage Garp in order to officially gain world government status for Hachinoso and him as king, which I think might just work. Video coming soon. By the way, we already mentioned how it's looking more and more likely Blackbeard will end up killing Luffy's idol, Red Hair Shanks, making him even more likely he's Luffy's big bad, and it would be a closer fight than people think. With Blackbeard wielding the devil fruit that has the most destructive capabilities, that is said to be able to destroy the world, the Goro Goro no Mi, and the devil fruit that has the best defense against devil fruit users in the world, the Yami Yami no Mi, which might just be the only power that that can stop Gear 5? Blackbeard is the most dangerous pirate alive, especially to those that like to protect their allies. Not to mention, Blackbeard is likely to have or obtain a third unknown power as well. As we've mentioned, one of One Piece's main themes is how willpower and ambition foster power and luck. Well, one of the main things that makes Blackbeard so dangerous is he is even more ambitious than Luffy. Similar to the man his ship is named after, Roxy Zebek, Blackbeard doesn't just want to be the pirate king, but the king of the world. Which brings me to my aforementioned theory. How could Blackbeard be the king of the world if that throne is already being occupied by Emu? The second Blackbeard learns about Emu, he will start formulating a plan to kill Emu and replace them. And honestly, given how much Blackbeard already seems to know about the One Piece world's secrets, he most likely already knows about Emu. And then when facing the current biggest threat in One Piece, to Luffy's displeasure, Blackbeard and Straw Hat Luffy will be forced to team up to take down the demon god together, and then settle their beef after. The Battle of Dreams, where only one will be made. And if you made it to the very end of this video, comment tacos, the word, or the emoji, so I know you're a real one who's helped me towards achieving my own dream.